And my mother, of course, wants to go to this wedding, but she can't drive. She doesn't drive on the interstates or through swamps, and so she wants us to take her. And I can't tell my mother no. And I said, all right, we'll go to the wedding. We'll take you down there. Well, my mother immediately starts pitching for us to stay at my Uncle Ray and Aunt Tina's house, which I don't want to do because I'm allergic to ferrets. And so I said, Mom, why don't we just stop at the Motel 6 in Dothan, Alabama? And my mother said, and I quote, well, I don't want people thinking we're uppity. Which in my family is a possibility. One year when we had the family reunions, everybody brings stuff for this big dinner. My brother brought 3 buckets of Kentucky Fried Chicken, and all night people were like, what's up, Donald Trump? So at the risk of being uppity, we stop at the Motel 6 in Dothan, Alabama, and if I had known that it was chili cook-off weekend, I would have made a reservation because they only had 1 room available, and from the smell of it, some of the past chili cook-off winners had stayed there. Well, when they said 1 room, in my mind, I'm thinking 2 double beds. Well, we get to the room, and there is 1 king-size bed for me, my wife, and my mother. And my wife is not happy because she knows she's in the middle. She's the human Berlin Wall, because if I wake up spooning with the wrong person, it is going to take years of therapy to get me back right again. Well, you learn things when you're on the road, and I learned that apparently the walls of the Motel 6 in Dothan, Alabama are made out of toilet paper because the couple in the room next to us liked each other. A lot. And loudly. And me, my wife, and my mother lay there and listened to them like each other for an hour and a half. At which point my wife tapped me on the shoulder and said, you need to do something. Like I'm about to walk next door and ask for his autograph. Kidding me? An hour and a half? That's 2 years' work for me. Well, the next morning we're up and getting ready, and I can hear them leaving the room, and I want to see them. Because, you know, when you listen to this, you get this mental image of what... So as they leave, I go and crack our door open and peek at them at the hall. I wish I had never done it. Because they were biggins. Biggins. I think half the moaning and groaning was them trying to take their socks off. So we leave the Motel 6, and we drive down to Sherry's parents' house, and we have to park on the street. There's a lot of people there, and as we're walking up the driveway, there's a pickup truck in the driveway, and it looks like somebody is leaning against the passenger side window. And I'm like, what the hell? And I walk up the driveway, there is a dead deer in the car, in the passenger seat, against the side. I go in the house and said, what's the story with the deer? And my cousin Scott said, well, we hid it on the way over here, and I didn't want somebody to steal it, so we just threw it in the gap. That's my family. They think somebody might steal a deer at a family wedding. So we visit a while, and then they say it's time for the wedding. We get our lawn chairs and we go out in the backyard. And the altar for the wedding is the aluminum deck, the redwood deck of the above-ground pool. And the entire deck and the pool are covered in colored Christmas lights. So I leaned over to my brother and I said, I wonder how long it took them to put up the wedding decorations. And my brother said, well, we were here 2 years ago and they were up then, so I don't think they ever come down. You might be a redneck. So they go through the whole wedding thing, and so the preacher gets up there and they climb the ladder and they're on the deck, and out comes my cousin Sherry. She is 8 months pregnant with a snow white dress on. I'm looking for a big star and 3 guys riding camels up the driveway. Well, the irony of this is lost on my mother. My mother leans over and goes, that's the same dress her mother got married in. And I'm doing the math, and the only answer I can come up with is ho squared. Not saying, just saying. So they do the wedding, and then they have the reception in the backyard, and the DJ has got on his suit pants and no shirt, and he is lighting firecrackers and throwing them at Sherry's grandmother's feet just to hear her cuss. Well, Sherry's mother, Donna, comes out, and she's got a big box full of Ziploc bags full of birdseed, and she said, Sherry read online that you shouldn't throw rice because if the birds eat rice and drink water, the rice would expand and kill the birds, so she wants everybody to throw birdseed, which we did, and to this day I haven't had the heart to tell her. 2 hours after they left, I saw her 2 little brothers in the front yard with pellet guns shooting the birds while they ate the birdseed. But when they go to leave the house, they go get in her new husband Dustin's Camaro. Most people just drive off, not Sherry and Dustin. They get in the car and proceed to do donuts in my Uncle Wayne's front yard. And the third time around, her door came open. And you're thinking, God, she's going to fall out of the car. And her grandmother was standing next to me. She threw her beer on the ground and said, if this lasts 6 months, I'll kiss a good man's ass. So, Jeff, where do you come up with the redneck jokes? Now, here's the other thing. Since Bill and Larry and I have been on stage together, Bill and I both turned 50. And 50, I don't feel 50, but it's a weird age. But, well, you know they're going to throw you a party, but you know you're not getting real presents. You get the gag gifts, you know, the hemorrhoid ointment, the backache pills, and the boxes of bran cereal, and everybody's laughing, and I'm thinking, y'all just saved me a trip to the store. You know? But the bad thing about 50 is it's an age where all of a sudden you're supposed to get all these medical tests done to you that you've never had to have before in your life. And my loving wife scheduled me not long ago my first colonoscopy. By applause, how many people have had the joy of this procedure? Okay, this is for the rest of you. And some people may not even know what I'm talking about. Let me break it down for you. The word colonoscopy in the Latin, colon means large intestine. Oscopy means to attach a camera to the end of a garden hose or ram it through it. I think that's what it means. But there are 3 steps to a colonoscopy. The first step is the pre-surgery consultation, which you do a couple of weeks before the procedure. And let me say this, pay attention during the consultation. And I say that not because I did, but because I didn't. Because I'm a comedian. I'm trying to make jokes. I'm like, boy, I bet you meet a lot of assholes in your line of work. Nothing. That's funny. I don't care who you are right there. That's funny. So, now the second part is the day before preparation because they want you cleaned out before they run this camera through you. And my wife wasn't home that day, but she bought everything I needed and she put it on the kitchen counter. She kept calling me. Now remember, at 3 o'clock you're supposed to start the preparation. Well, the first step of the preparation, you were supposed to mix 64 ounces of Gatorade with 10 large packets of Miralax. Now the back of one packet of Miralax said, may cause loose and watery stools. 10 large packets of Miralax is guaranteed to clean out the Alaska pipeline. Now, if I had paid attention during the consultation, I would have remembered that you were supposed to spread the 64 ounces out over 3.5 hours. Didn't remember that part. So I mixed it all together and I downed the entire thing in a little under 8 minutes. Now the only thing left on the counter is a bottle of something called magnesium citrate. 2 drops of this stuff will pull the Eiffel Tower out of the earth. And I remember the doctor saying you were required to drink half a bottle, but some people might have to drink a whole bottle. And I thought, well, hell, I ain't coming back and doing this again later, so I hold my nose and I down the whole thing. And now in a little under 10 minutes, I have completed a procedure that's supposed to take 4.5 hours. And not long after that, my stomach started making some weird noises. Kind of like the fireplace in the Amityville Horror. Run to the bowels, run to the bowels, run to the bowels. point, my underwear tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Run." Took my feet off the ground. I was physically afraid. And I watch a lot of rodeo. The only thing I could think to do was put a glove on my left hand, get a piece of rope, tie myself to the toilet seat, and hold on. I passed everything I've ever eaten in my entire life. I passed things I had only thought about eating. I passed stuff my neighbors had eaten. I passed a wheelbarrow we keep in the garage. How did I do that? And 1 hour later, what was coming out of me was so pure it could be legally declared mountain spring water. And I was ready for my test. So I show up the next morning for the part I was dreading the most, the actual colonoscopy. That ended up being the easiest part of the whole thing. Thanks to an IV they give you with something called Demerol in it. They put that thing in my arm. The last thought I had was, I bet my doctor has a camera on her cell phone and I'm going to be on TMZ tonight. And I was out, and when I woke up, she said, "It's all over. You're great. You don't have to come back for 5 years." Oh, wow, that's awesome. So I sit up on the side of the bed, and I got that little gown on, and there's my pants and my shirt are folded up. So I grab the shirt, and I start to unbutton it, and I hear a woman say, "What are you doing?" And I turn around, there's a nurse in the corner. I hadn't noticed her, and I said, "I guess I'm going home." And she said, "Well, guess again." And I said, "What?" And she said, "Well, in order to get the camera through you, they have to inflate your intestines with air, and you can't go home until you give the air back." I'm like, "All right, I will." And she said, "Well, I have to verify that you do." At which point I noticed she is holding a pen and a clipboard. And I remember career day in high school. Nobody told us you could get paid good money for reading farts on the clipboard. Because I have friends that do that all the time for free. But here's the problem. My mother raised me in such a way that she told me I was never supposed to do that in front of a woman, especially a woman I don't know. And so now, even though I really have to do it, I can't. I lock up. And she's getting frustrated because she's got things to do. And finally she says, "Come get back in the bed, get on all fours and lower your shoulders to the mattress." And let me tell you, buddy, I knew real quick this is going to work. And I thought, well, if I'm going to embarrass myself, why not do like I did the preparation and just get it all over with at one time? So I thought back to my wife's Lamaze classes and that breathing, you know, that. And I did just like my wife did. I did the big concentrated push. And what came out of me was so loud and so long, Fred Flintstone clocked out from work. And I said, "Can I go home now?" And she said, "Please do."